3 gunshot victims from the Fort Hood shooting remain this morning in very critical condition. The pile of debris here, everywhere you look, is about 12 inches deep. Who knows what room I'm standing inside of? This is an oven here right next to a car that is totaled.
The vote is being taken right now. This is what it sounds like inside the rotunda. These screams are deafening.
I wanted to show you, physically, how heavy this is. This is just one piece of wood from the roof, just ripped off. I'm gonna hop over the median, and you can get a good sense of how much damage there is. This is one of the tires, probably about 35, 40 feet away from where the wreck happened. Morales was wearing glasses like this. He took them off his face, even though he was wearing shackles, and literally broke them in half, ripping them to pieces, and using this large end piece to stab that officer in the car multiple times in the chest and the back. He then ran out of the car, headed this way on foot. He hasn't been seen in 12 hours. We're going to walk now live with you. We just got unseen, so we don't have much information, but I can tell you what I can see here is I smell some smoke, and you can see the fire trucks here. It appears that the fire is out, and you can see the damage left to the grass here right before it plowed into that bedroom. This fire was caused by lightning. About 20 firefighters are still here, and you can take a live look right now. In fact, they are using the hose. The crook broke through the plaster wall to this Boost Mobile store, and then as quickly as he could, climbed inside. You could see how thick this plaster is that he had to break through. And with the freezing rain and the sleet still coming down on your cars, it is just nothing but sheets of ice here. When you think of a normal car battery, this is how big it is. But with Tesla, their battery is this big. It takes up nearly an entire parking spot, and the battery weighs 1,200 pounds. The employee did not want to who drove through did not want to wait. Was obviously upset about seeing the strike and seeing the picket line, and he plowed through. Here come the firefighters right now live to treat this man who was obviously hurt. It's a very chaotic scene over my shoulder. The protesters just got here about 5 minutes ago. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of commotion. I'm not sure there have been any arrests just yet. Hang on one second. It looks like there's yes. The bicycle officers have left, and right now officers are using their batons to hold the line here on Tryon Street. It's clear that the protesters are trying to push down Tryon Street. There are more officers arriving every second. Again, the bicycle officers have now left. They were the first line of defense as these protesters moved down the street for about a mile from Marshall Park. But now those bicycle officers have moved, and these officers carrying the billy clubs are now standing shoulder to shoulder. They appear to be at least 3 deep. Hang on, the protesters are moving again. I think, Holly, this is now a good time to send it back to you. As you can see, they are moving. We're going to move right along with them. You can see behind me that there is an SUV that is stuck in this fast rising water, as well as an 18-wheeler. Now, we did capture on video the rescue of that driver. Firefighters were able to pull up despite the high water and pull out that driver, but the water itself continues to rise. It's up to the hood and up to the door of this white SUV. Other vehicles, even massive trucks, are stuck. You can see how fast moving this water is. I'm going to go down with you at ground level, and you can see how fast moving and how dangerous this water is from this storm. More than 9 inches of rain have already fallen up here in Sanger off the interstate on I-35, and traffic is completely shut down. Take a look this way. Traffic backed up for miles. Police vehicles off to the side of the road as well that you can see. Now, this is something we're going to continue to monitor all day long as this traffic situation gets worse. But again, folks, if you do not have to be on the roads, stay off them. It is very dangerous out here right now. In Sanger, Jeff Smith, NBC5. Take a look. You can see all of these bricks here in the front yard, hundreds of bricks like this thrown across the yard here. The roof is ripped off. You can see the pieces of lumber ripped off. The shingling is all gone. I wanted to show you, physically, how heavy this is. This is just one piece of wood from the roof, just ripped off like it was nothing. And it's easy to see why there's no power here, because take a look at those power lines. They are completely ripped to shreds. They are covering the streets here in Cleburne. Some of these power poles, when we drove through, they are snapped like twigs, literally in half. So much of the town is without power. Dozens of homes have serious damage. We just talked with one woman, in fact, who lived through this nightmare. Here's what she had to say.
I've never been through a tornado before in my life. It's the scariest I've ever been. I don't know. I have nightmares about tornadoes every year, and I lived through one tonight.
And when you look through this devastation live here in Cleburne, it really is a miracle that no one was seriously hurt. We can tell you that 7 people were transported to the hospital with minor injuries. We're told it's a lot of cuts and that kind of thing from broken glass, but no one seriously hurt, no deaths. Again, like you mentioned, the schools are closed for today. The buildings have serious damage. And I want to point out that there is damage like this all over town here. And at sunrise, search and rescue teams from around North Texas will be here going door to door, checking for people trapped in the rubble. They don't think there's anyone trapped, but they need to cross every T and dot every I, and they will be going door to door in just a few hours. Mark and Deborah. This crime has shocked this small North Texas community, but right now it's also pulling them together as dozens of volunteers are here to lend a helping hand to get these headstones back in place.
This is all that was broken, or was the whole thing.
If you're the police chief of a small Texas town, there's only one thing to do when your historic cemetery is vandalized. Get to work.
So if you want to, I can get a little team here real quick.
Police Chief James Waters woke up to news that 50 graves in the Princeton Cemetery were damaged. Tombstones and markers were knocked over, urns smashed, family keepsakes stolen.
You can kind of tell by looking around the community, it somewhat devastated the community.
Getting strapped, lifted back up.
In a matter of hours, he gathered together dozens of volunteers. And they spent their days fixing up the desecrated graves of men they never knew.
That's what a community is about. We're here to help one another.
But Chief Waters knows the story behind one grave.
I want them to be caught and pay restitution and come and put flowers in these graves.
Margaret Cantu has spent her life in Princeton. It's where she raised her son, Mark. It's where Mark raised his family.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Kids that don't have nothing else to do but destroy.
Mark Cantu died 14 years ago at the age of 33.
I promise you that we are doing everything that we can possibly do to try to make this right for you, okay?
8 volunteers spent more than an hour at Mark Cantu's grave. Tombstones here weigh at least 400 pounds. That's why police suspect a large group of vandals who worked together in the middle of the night, then ran off.
I'd like to know if it was your parents, if it was your family, how would you feel? How would you feel?
While some of these graves date back 150 years, many of these folks knew Mark Cantu personally. And with teamwork, strength, and sheer will, they uprighted his headstone.
We're going to take care of him just like he did for you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're sorry this happened.
I am too.
The vandals still haven't been caught, though the reward money is growing. But in small town Texas,
I appreciate every minute that y'all have put into this.
Sometimes the police chief himself has to give the victim justice before ever making an arrest. The police chief thinks this was a large group of people who came here on foot then ran away because of how heavy these headstones are. Now they're working right now on getting a reward together, but asking anyone with information to give them a call. In Princeton, Jeff Smith, NBC5. Behind those hospital doors in the intensive care unit, there are 9 gunshot victims from the Fort Hood shooting recovering this morning. I just spoke with doctors a few minutes ago, and they did confirm for me that several of those victims are still fighting for their lives right now. Now, doctors tell me that of those 9 patients they are treating, 3 of them are, in their words, very critical condition this morning. 5 are in serious condition. Now, that 9th victim that I mentioned was actually brought here to the hospital very late last night. I'm told that victim is in serious condition as well. Now, doctors tell us most of these victims have a single gunshot wound, everything from critical wounds to the neck and the stomach to gunshots to the arms and the legs. Several patients are still on ventilators, unable to talk. Doctors tell me this morning they still don't have everyone's names. As of right now, some families still have not been notified.
Obviously, some of these young men and women are serving a good distance from home, so we don't have immediate family a lot of the time. But we are working to get that. We have the majority of them, we just don't have all of them yet.
And I want to point out the hospital will hold an on-camera press conference later this morning. I will start going inside the hospital to set up in the conference room at 8 a.m. That's where we'll get the latest information on how these patients are doing today. Many of them had surgery last night. We'll get the latest information to you this morning. Back to you. Now remember, Republicans had the votes to pass this abortion bill, and they succeeded in cutting short Senator Wendy Davis's filibuster before it was supposed to end. That outraged hundreds of her supporters and forced state troopers to take action. State troopers were ordered to clear the gallery, and many abortion rights supporters refused to leave. Troopers shoved this woman, pushed her back, and arrested her. Other women were also grabbed and dragged. They were angry that Republican lawmakers used parliamentary tactics to stop Senator Wendy Davis's filibuster before midnight.
I think it's a great opportunity for the state of Texas to protect the women and their rights, and also to protect the unborn.
Hundreds of abortion rights advocates stood shoulder to shoulder outside the gallery doors. They crammed every inch of space in the rotunda from the first floor to the 4th.
I'm happy to be here. This is government in action. This is the people coming together. The line wraps around the first floor twice and up the stairs to get into the gallery. This is a sea of orange, and there's some blue here, but both sides are represented. Republican senators called for a vote before midnight. Protesters started screaming and clapping to delay the vote. My ears popped from the noise, and here's the report I filed at the stroke of midnight.
The vote is being taken right now. This is what it sounds like inside the rotunda. These screams are deafening.
Ultimately, the tactic worked. These screams delayed the vote until after midnight, meaning the bill was passed too late. And just an hour ago, Wendy Davis sent out this tweet. Thanks to the powerful voices of thousands of Texans, Senate Bill 5 is dead. An incredible victory for Texas women and those who love them. It's the first tweet she sent out in more than a day. One would imagine she finally had something to eat and drink and probably use the bathroom before sending that tweet. President Obama also sending in his congratulations, saying that something special happened in Austin this morning. Back to you. When Cole Curley ran out of his house right after the tornado, his parents covered his eyes with their hands. They did not want him to see the destruction until now. Step by step, carefully avoiding the broken glass, we were with 6-year-old Cole Curley as he saw for the first time what happened to his house. He didn't blink much, and from looking at his face, you can sense his shock and bewilderment.
What do you think, buddy?
Wow.
Much of the roof is gone. Nearly every room is damaged.
Yeah, I was scared, and everything in the bathroom, I heard this different thing, and then I thought something blew off the roof.
I asked Cole to take us to that bathroom.
I was sitting right here, like right here, and
My little brother, he was like right here.
He said he prayed with his parents. I asked him to share that prayer with us.
God, please let this storm pass. Please let us be okay.
And everyone is okay. Cole's dad brought him back to the house today so Cole could learn a valuable lesson: perseverance.
We're going to get it fixed, and that we live in a good house, and it'll be even better when we're done with it.
The family is staying at a hotel right now. Cole tells me he is ready to go back to kindergarten class. In Cleburne, Jeff Smith, NBC5.